All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Arto. You were created by the last brushstrokes of a dying god in order to restore color and life to the lands. Master an array of abilities and weapons. Create more than 80 paint infused projectile spells and make choices that will help shape the future of this world. Bit dramatic. Like, it's basically the plot to The Blob. Like,
The first thing it made me think of was that one Trolls game on like the Super Nintendo or something, where the world was black and white and you had to paint every stage in.
never played that. Yeah. Anyway, so this game was given to the Golics for review, so over to him for the details.
So yeah, you play as this Lady Liv, who was created, I guess, by one of those art spirits, and then you have to, after you get a sword made of like color, you have to go around and negotiate one way or the other with the other ones to try to get color to go back to the world. You actually don't gain the ability to make color appear wherever you go until just about the end of the tutorial. Before that, it only explodes out of objects when you break them. So, but that was interesting. I was not able to give this game as much time as I wanted because it is actually interesting, and I would have liked to have more time to commit to it, but there's been stuff going on this week and weekend, so unfortunately I didn't do as much. I will probably go back to it some. So yeah, it's like an action RPG pretty much. There is a um, skill tree as well as new items that you get to unlock abilities. Um, there was a chromocalypse a while ago, and these 6 things that I forget what they're called. I feel like this is. I don't know. I wish I remembered, but again, I didn't have a whole lot of time for it. Are
The Six MacGuffins.
Yeah, well, they're like the gods of different art styles. Most of them are named one way or another after a different artist, and each one represents kind of a different art style. And you have to explore the different worlds and find ways to bring the color back. The controls are pretty standard for this kind of game. There isn't any jumping, at least to start with, but you have a dash. You get your sword. You get a projectile weapon pretty early, and then the skill tree includes more dashes and shields and a healing thing that you get. So I don't know. I feel a little bit underprepared for this, but overall, I have a pretty positive impression of it. The only things that I could say weren't amazing was that it was sometimes a little bit clunky. There was one scene where I accidentally dashed through between what the area you're supposed to be able to go in and like the area behind. I didn't like fall off the world or anything, and I was able to get back by dashing back once I figured out what had happened, but that was weird. The combat system also, for the boss battles I did, it's a little bit trickier because there is a lot of color flying around, but the combat is significantly based on attacks that are parryable and not parryable. So when they're parryable, you generally want to parry them. And when they're not, you have to dodge. But you also have to keep an eye out on like where the projectile parts are going and stuff. Yeah, the art style is really nice. It could have been. It's probably my computer's level of processing and the fact that I prefer to play in windowed mode that made some of the things a little bit graphically clunky. Because, like, the demo art looks better. Specifically, I noticed that the hair did a lot of clipping when I was closer up to the camera. Sorry, I'm kind of losing. Do you guys have any questions that I can maybe help me get back on track?
Trying to think here. How far did you get?
Only a little bit into the second world, unfortunately. Part of that is because, okay, so you don't gain the ability to open treasure chests until the end of the first area, pretty much, and you've passed 2 or 3 treasure chests by that point. So being me, I went back to get all the other ones because the treasure chests contain the chroma currency that you use to fill up your skill tree, and I really wanted to get on that because the double dash, it costs twice as much as the other 2 starting things. And that's the one I really wanted because in games like this, go figure, you often want to be able to do a double dodge dash. The music was very, I'll say, atmospheric, not like in the sense of like it was nature sounds, but like contemplative, low-key music mostly, barring a little bit of.
Did it like fit the theme of the worlds at least, or?
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty much. Although, again, the worlds that I got to, even when you get to the Harwalls world, which is a go figure pop art styled. Again, I didn't get through too much there, and the first bit of it you find is still a little bit based on the previous area you were in. The music didn't stand out a whole lot, but the first couple areas were intentionally, the first one is kind of ominous until you get the. Also, it's more than just giving color back to things in a radius for you. Like when you color in a bird nest, a bird will come and sit on it. When you color in like a little hole in the wall, sometimes a mouse or something will come out of it. It's aesthetically, it's a very nice game. The music was fitting. It's just not like a huge standout, you know? It was pretty playable with either. I mean, I recommend controller, but it seemed to work okay with mouse and keyboard too. The biggest thing would probably be you might be able to aim the shots a little bit better with a mouse and keyboard, because with the controller, you hold down the shoot button, aim with the stick, and then release to fire it. So yeah, that's the main thing I can think of. I guess I'll try and know if there's anything major that comes up for it, but I had a good time with it. I just wasn't able to start until relatively late today, unfortunately.
So it goes sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose with that,
so yeah, what are we talking about price-wise?
$20.
That seems good for this.
All right.
I would have been worried if it was over 30 maybe, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be super long, but and I definitely think it's worth experiencing for the visuals and stuff.
Right.
Killers to video games is never a bad thing. Devs should do it more.
Anyway, so anything else on Arto here?
I think I'm good.
All right. So that'll about do it for Arto. Be sure to tune in after the break as we review Auric and the Ruined Kingdom.